with Slash and Slash's Snakepit, and when I can bring that, see, that's my terrible transition into everything. Did you have any idea that it's the 30th anniversary this year of It's 5 o'clock somewhere?
I had heard rumblings of such, and it's kind of hard to believe that that much time has passed. Um, and it's really even greater feeling for me to know that people still uh, like that record and enjoy it, and even the Guns N' Roses fans that accepted me when I joined the band. That I'll never forget that, because I made some um, great friends along the way during those years.
It really was a special time, and for me, just trying to think back when I was younger, uh, Guns N' Roses had already broken up by the time I was really cognizant of music like that and developing my favorite band. So Slash was still active, and he was active with Slash's Snake Pit. And so, I mean, that band, that era, both albums are special to me. But I'm telling you, I recently put up. I like to do, because we talk about negativity. I try to be more positive, especially on social media, where all the negativity seems to really reside. Do underrated songs, things that maybe people want to highlight that don't get talked about enough. So I did an underrated for Slash's Snake Pit. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I'm telling you, people still love that album. They love it, and it's just like one of their. They talk about it to this day, and people were excited to come on. So, do you have a? I know you've spoken about it over the years, but is there 30 years later? Is there a specific memory when I tell you that comes to mind? Is it a certain show? Is it a certain song? Is it a certain moment with Slash? What's the first thing that kind of pops into your head?
There were a lot of great memories made during that time. Um, One of the things that I've never been able to experience since was, in that brief time period, we went around before the record came out and we were doing promotion. In the old days, the record company would send you on a plane and you would go to certain markets and you'd go to the radio station and play a couple of acoustic songs and take calls, do whatever. And I felt like I was in the Rolling Stones. We were just hanging out, drinking Jack Daniels, smoking on planes in Italy, and just getting police escorts, and just it felt like Beatlemania and the Rolling Stones all mixed into one. And only a few months prior to that, I'd been sleeping on people's couches in LA. So I went from 0 to 150 in, like, a matter of a few weeks.
Mm.
So it was almost a pinch yourself sort of situation. Um, but that was a great memory. Opening for Metallica was a great memory at Castle Donington. I think that's to date the largest crowd that I've ever played in front of. It was well over 100,000 people, possibly more. And just humanity as far as the eye could see, and
Can't even
and
imagine.
people enjoying it too. So, but we had a lot of fun together, and writing and recording the record, I'll never forget as well, because I don't even know that people will do this anymore. But they had already recorded the tracks by the time they pulled me into the band. So my job every day was to get up, and we would choose a song, and I would go upstairs in the studio lounge and just start writing lyrics. And it would take hours, but they were doing other things, mixing and overdubbing or whatever. But no TV, just a notebook and your imagination,
Mm.
and a lot of coffee, and maybe a little bit of Jack Daniels, but a lot of coffee. Just um, it took a lot of concentration, but we got results pretty quick, because we were able to bounce ideas off each other really easily. It was very easy for Slash. He's very accommodating like that. So, uh, I would bring the lyrics downstairs, and he'd make some suggestions, and I would change some things, and then we would get on the mic and start singing. And by the end of the day, yeah, had a song completed, and it was a nice feeling. Uh, all that work, and then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, that came out good, So a
Where
lot of
did
great
that
memories.
the because that's again the way you described it. It's going from sleeping on people's couches, and you were already in Jellyfish and known a little bit, but I guess how did that go? I'm sure you've told the story in some fashion, but how did you go from that 0 to 150? How did Slash discover you and have the confidence in you to write the lyrics? Because I'm sure there were many singers chomping at the bit to wanting to work with him to be the bizarro Axl Rose, if you will. Just his band that's not Guns N' Roses where they're stalling. So how were you discovered for that slot, and how did he have the confidence? And did you have the confidence in yourself to do it?
Well, I definitely had the confidence from coming from Jellyfish. You had to have confidence because that was a tough band to be in. Um, but I look at that as something like a serendipitous act of fate that I even uh, got the gig to begin with because I was working with Roger Joseph Manning Jr. from Jellyfish, and we were in a rehearsal room working on our songs that wound up being the Imperial Drag record that was released in 1996. And the drummer we were playing with at the time knew about the audition. And we were at Mates Brothers, which is, I don't know if you know anything about Mates Brothers, but it's a really famous rehearsal space in LA. And Guns N' Roses rehearsed there all the time. So Slash's tech, Adam Day, was literally a few doors down. And after talking to Roger about it, well, do you think I should try it? Because I knew I could sing rock. I've been doing it all of my life. I was the default singer growing up. Nobody wanted to sing.
Mm.
Um, so I knew that I could at least give it a shot and it be believable. Um, but it happened really fast. By the time uh, I went over to Slash's old house with Adam Day, he was engineering and basically wrote Beggars and Hangers On, the lyrics, and sang it on the spot. And so I got a call back from Slash a couple of hours after we'd finished that. And he was like, let's talk. So it happens really quick. But had I not been at Mate's rehearsal that day, it would have never happened. So
Mm.
thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
And your red light, if you're watching, just like went on at the same time. Maybe you should be thanking Satan. I don't know what the way the light is.
Oh, I'm into red light therapy. Haven't you heard it's the new rage with all the kids?
Oh, is it?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, it's supposed to make you look, take your wrinkles out, and I've got a lot to make up for here, as I'm got it on all the time.
My beard is hiding my wrinkles. So was Beggars and Hangers On the first song that you wrote with for
Mhm.
Slashes? Yeah. Such a oh God, that's such a legendary song. That's still if you watch old performances of you, like wow, man, like you feel it the way you sing. I mean, just some thoughts on that song 30 years later, if you have.
Well, yeah, Slash and Mike Klink, when I went in, they liked my voice and they liked what it would do in certain instances, meaning they wanted me to push it as far as I could, which I was happy to do. Um, but I think what set me up to write those lyrics was, I mean, I'm going to blame the Stones for all of it because from the time I got to LA with Jellyfish and ever since then, just, I was absorbing Rolling Stones records like mad because I love them. And so I think some of those lyrics, uh, they're a little bit Mick Jaggerish to me. You promise to a wealthy man. It's just something
Mm.
in my head. I thought that sounds like something Mick Jagger would sing. So in my book, that's uh, that's kind of where that came from. I think a little bit, and listening to the Let It Bleed record.
No wonder why it's so. And then it's like Guns N' Roses. Like they'll take that influence, especially when they had Izzy, and it's put through this certain other mediums slash and others, and then it comes out just more of a hard rock sound, and it's just still it's aged well. I wanted to ask because you're talking. I was mentioning confidence, and you had the confidence right then and there to be with Slash, and they were also. We talked about the pressure last time I interviewed you. You would be not human to feel any pressure. But I don't know if this is true. This was a conversation between, when I was talking about you coming on, between John and Mike. Give them a shout out on Facebook. Was there when you decided not to do the second record? Was it a mutual decision, or did you not want to be a front man at that time? Because that's kind of also been in this. That Slash had mentioned that in the. I don't remember Slash's book. It's been so many years since I read it. That you were not ready to be a front man at that time, because that's certainly not the case anymore.
That had to do again with with timing, um, and the timing. The worlds collided, as it were. I came out to LA to work with Roger Manning from Jellyfish so we could pursue a record deal, because Jellyfish had broken up and neither of us wanted to quit. We had a lot of songs in us, and so we were already working when I got that gig. So I sort of got a permission from Roger to go off and play with Slash. But in the meantime, while I was on the road with Slash, we got a record deal with Sony, and I remember signing the contract in Rotterdam, Holland, in a hotel room, of all places. So we were kind of legally obligated to provide a record for Sony, and I just couldn't do both, you know. And I had to break it to Slash, and he wasn't very happy about it, but um, I had to move on. It was just one of those things. I was under the understanding too when I first got into it that it was going to be a pretty limited uh, experience, uh, because Geffen, though they were very supportive of Snakepit, they really wanted a Guns N' Roses record.